Today is a special day. We finally get to review a train from the Netherlands, and it's a train I like to boot. The DDZ is such a cool train in appearance and design, and I can't wait to give it the railway review it deserves.
I'm banishing you to the Shadow Realm. No! Much better.
Okay, never mind. Backup train it is then. The Netherlands Spoorwegen ICM Koploper is a 3 or 4 car Dutch wind-powered electric multiple unit. Despite having an appearance that was approved by a committee consisting of the demoman, Toff Beefel, and half of the characters from Bird Box, the Koploper has been the de facto intercity train for the country to this very day. They can be seen serving places such as Schiphol Airport, Gouda, Honahan, Zwolle, Arnhem, Rotterdam, The Hague, Venlo and Enschede. I can already hear the sound of several of my Dutch-speaking viewers committing suicide using clogs and a windmill from just hearing the pronunciations of those places. Many apologies for that. So how good are these trains? And do I actually like riding on them every time I go to the Netherlands? Let's find out. As this is the first Dutch train we are looking at in this series, I would like to briefly compare the railways of the UK vs the Netherlands, as whilst trains are similar, there are some key differences to keep a close eye on. Whilst the majority of trains are powered by overhead electric cables, the Netherlands has been using a 1.5 kV DC system instead of the more common 25 kV AC system we're used to. This does nerf most of the trains in terms of acceleration and braking. Hello there. But it does allow for a lower minimum voltage on the flip side. Kinda redundant now I'm reading this out, but whatever. The loading gauge for the Netherlands is pretty much to European standards, and allows for larger rolling stock and even double-decker trains. Whereas in comparison, the UK's loading gauge can be best described with the image you are currently seeing on screen. Private train companies operate on certain routes instead, or alongside the state-owned Netherlands Spoorwegen. However, a common fare system applies across the country regardless of this. Also, fares are much cheaper than the UK. I love using this ticket, which basically gives admin powers to ride any bus, train, tram and metro across the entire country for just over €40 too. I don't want to make out that the trains in Holland are totally better than the UK, but it's such a nice breath of fresh air to ride on some varied rolling stock than what I normally have to deal with. Neither of them are perfect railway networks, but one is clearly more thoughtful for their passengers than the other. Now let's get back to the train itself. The ICM is a much older train than most people would expect. Prototype units were constructed in 1977, and whilst those units aren't in service anymore, the oldest units from 1983 and 1994 are still running to this day. The 144 units built in either 3 or 4 car sets allow trains to be used in a variety of coach lengths depending on the passenger demand. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 car formations are possible, and it's quite common for intercity services to gain and lose sets depending on journeys. Fun fact, due to longer coach lengths, an 11-car Koploper is 30 meters longer than an 11-car 390 and has about 240 seats more to boot. Okay, let's stop dawdling about the appearance. Why is the Koploper such a tall train? Well, back when the trains were introduced, the fronts were designed to open and reveal a coupling passageway connector similar to what is seen back here in the UK. Despite this innovation and the benefits it made for moving between units, it was extremely unreliable, and thus, from 2005 onwards, the concept was abandoned, and the fronts were sealed shut during the refurbishment shortly afterwards. Now sure, the concept of being able to walk between units is quite common in the UK, but because of this alternative arrangement, the cab was placed above the walkway and is only accessible via a staircase located inside the front of the train. The high cab position allows for the driver to constantly assert dominance across every mortal running in the European railway network, even if it comes with the price of a reduced cab space. Sacrifices must be made. It's extremely difficult to show just how tall this train is, helped even less with the lenses on my camera, but I will link you some examples of videos of POV driving of this train for those curious of what it's like to be the railway equivalent of Longcat.
I'm a foot and a half taller than you, but whatever.
What was that?
I said I can't hear you from down there.
The Koploper is fast. I have sadly been unable to procure any official acceleration data, but from experience, these units can accelerate pretty fast and smoothly for their age. I was also in an emergency brake situation one time and can confirm that these trains stop pretty well too, thanks to the addition of track brakes fitted to some units. The top speed and acceleration is nerfed once again due to outdated Dutch railway infrastructure. The Koploper is more than capable of reaching 160 km per hour, but due to archaic safety systems, they are sadly limited to 140. This means that even the likes of the Class 158 can slowly beat it in terms of permitted top speed. Maybe if ETCS is rolled out across the network, the units will be able to show their full speed potential, but I don't know. My crystal ball is running on Windows Vista and isn't behaving at the moment. So what is the Koploper like to ride on? We are off to a good start, as standard class is gifted with a 2+2 seating arrangement with seats varying between aircraft and facing positions. Each seat is provided with movable armrests, and tables are provided behind the seats that are quite big in comparison to UK trains. I think I can get away saying that they are big enough to play crappy card games like Magic the Gathering on, or perhaps Texas Hold'em. Riding on the Koploper is a very relaxing experience. The pitch of the seats is good, you get a great amount of legroom, and they are very comfortable to boot. I will happily look forward to riding on 2-hour train rides on these units. You also get air conditioning on board, and free Wi-Fi is provided on all trains too. But because my phone is part of the roaming 5G master race, I didn't bother testing it out. The vestibules have a good amount of standing space and some tip-up seats, which I like, since it means you can sit with your luggage and not take it through the coaches like an imbecile. Bicycle spaces are also provided in one of the driving coaches. It says 3 is the maximum, but we all know that the true maximum bicycles per train is that number multiplied by 986. The toilets on board the Koploper are a bit strange. The size of them isn't the problem, since they are wheelchair accessible. It's just that the door is manually operated and opens into the vestibule. Sliding doors are so 1948 anyway. 3-car units have only one toilet opposed to a pair of toilets that the 4-car ones have, which is apparently half of what they had prior to refurbishment because lol. Other than the lack of a sliding door, they are perfectly serviceable, if you ask me. What about first class, you ask? Indeed, the ICM has first class included on each train set, consisting of either a full coach in a 4-car or half a coach in 3-car units. Just as expected, a 2+1 seating formation with leather seats is provided here, alongside charging sockets located right above your head, near the lights, because you would obviously notice them there on your first time using this train. The best bit of first class is the section closest to the vestibule. That's right, we get compartment seating. The 3 abreast seating in a closed-off section like this can allow you and your mates to brush up on your competitive rock paper scissors skills. An excellent addition, I must say, and it's really nice to see this style of seating still being used. The future of the Koploper seems rather stable. As to the date of me making this video, there is no confirmed replacement that I know of on the horizon. For the sake of entertainment, let's imagine a replacement for these trains. The Netherlands will order a fleet of 150 double-decker electric multiple units, formed of either 3 or 5 coaches. These will be built by some respectable employees at Amsaldo Breed.
No!
Okay, never mind then. Let's just jump into the conclusion. The ICM is one of my favorite trains to ride on in the Netherlands, and is always something I look forward to seeing every time I go over there on holiday. The trains blend a good amount of refinement and comfort to make journeys on board a great experience. They even have great sounding traction motors too, that you can listen to whilst sitting in the vestibules, just as another bonus to add on top of this stroopwafel. Whilst I can see a few hiccups here and there, not including the odd amount of overcrowding when a 3-car train runs from Rotterdam to Utrecht, I can certainly say that the Koploper is a great train overall. Here's to several more years of these units, and hopefully they will be preserved once they reach their retirement. Now you know my thoughts on the ICM Koploper. Go out there and please employ some Dutch engineers to rebuild Hammersmith Bridge. Hammersmith and Fulham are a special kind of incompetent, and they will never get this bridge done to a viable standard, so please help.